The exclusive poll for Global News shows if an election were held tomorrow, the Conservatives would get 32% of the popular vote, which is unchanged. The Liberals are at 31%, which is down 2 points. The NDP continues to edge upward, up another 2 points in this poll to 23% national support. The Green Party lost a point and are now at 4%. The leading parties are fighting it out in 2 battleground provinces. Ontario sees the Liberals and Tories in a statistical tie, with the NDP only 8 points back. In BC, those 3 parties are in that statistical tie, all within 5 points of each other.
The Liberals should be very worried about where we are in the campaign, because all they've done since the start of the campaign is lose momentum and lose support, not just in terms of their voter support, but also all the underlying fundamental questions that relate to whether or not people approve of the government's performance, whether they approve of the prime minister, whether they believe they deserve to be reelected. All of those points they've been moving against the government on. And the second thing is we've seen momentum building, not just for one opposition party, but for 2 opposition parties. So the Liberals are really facing it on both sides of the political spectrum. The Conservatives have picked up support, and the NDP has definitely picked up support. And what we're seeing at the moment is that it's not so much that what's happening on the other campaigns is necessarily attracting people. It's that the people who were considering voting for the Liberal Party have become disenchanted as a result of the calling of the election and the way it was called and the motivation and cynicism that was suggested by what was done by the Liberal Party and Justin Trudeau, particularly in the context of a pandemic and all the other issues that have taken place since then, including Afghanistan. And so what they're doing right now is they're going around and kicking the tires on some of the alternatives. It's not that they're being attracted necessarily strongly to the other parties, it's that they're being repelled by the Liberals. One of the things that's become a bit of a trope, along with the idea that people, move on from how and why an election is called, onto really engaging with the election and forgetting how it was kicked off. The other trope that goes along with that should be retired is that people aren't paying attention. And the reason that we know that people are paying attention to the election campaign is because the numbers are moving. They wouldn't be moving if people weren't paying attention to the election campaign. So as we get closer to the end of the election campaign, yes, I expect that the level of intensity of attention should increase, but people are paying attention right now, and we know that because the numbers are moving. What's really important is what's happening in the battlegrounds. And the battlegrounds that are most important in deciding the outcome of the election are Ontario, Quebec, and British Columbia. And what we're seeing in all 3 of them is that the Liberals are not breaking out. They're not building the level of support that they need in order to form a majority government, which was the goal of calling the election when they called it. So in fact, starting with the province of Ontario, basically the Liberals and Conservatives are in a statistical tie. Well, the Liberals won the province of Ontario by almost 10 points in the last election campaign. Being tied with the Conservatives means they're going to lose a lot of seats if this is how things turn out on election day. So that's a big problem. The province of Quebec, the Liberals and the Bloc Québécois are neck and neck, similar to the way that they were in the last election campaign. But we also see that the Conservatives are moving up a little bit compared to where they were in the last campaign. So the breakout for the Liberals is not occurring in the province of Quebec. And finally, British Columbia, where the Conservatives did really well in the last election, they continue to do well in this election. But what's happened is that the NDP has come back up and has become the progressive champion in the province. And what's happened to the Liberal Party is they've slipped into 3rd place. So they're not going to find any more seats with these numbers in the province of British Columbia. So the strategic objective for the Liberal Party in this election campaign was to win a majority, to win a comfortable majority. What we're seeing based on these numbers, is that is very, very far away. And they will be fighting to even win the plurality of seats in this election campaign, and may even come second to the Conservative Party in terms of the most number of seats won. So this next 3 weeks is going to be a barn burner in terms of this election campaign, and is certainly not what Justin Trudeau was anticipating when he kicked this campaign off 3 weeks ago.